Hello folks, welcome to week 9, and this week the total mileage we're aiming for is 86 kilometres. We're going to be running every single day of the week. We're on 7 days a week running now for the next 6 weeks. That's intimidating. It is Monday. I have run today. I did my hill rep session this morning, which was 11 kilometres total with 5 by 60 to 90 second hill reps. It went well. I felt pretty good. And later today I will be doing a squat focused strength training session. Tuesday the plan is to do 6 kilometres easy in the morning, and then I will have to do my second strength training session of the week on Tuesday evening, because now that I'm not working Wednesday evenings anymore, I'm going to try and attend my running club's Wednesday club runs. And if I try and do strength training in the morning and then the club run in the evening, it won't go well. That's not a good combination. It really works very poorly for me, and I think it worked poorly for a lot of people as well. If you're running and strength training on the same day, it's generally better to, if running is your focus, to do the run first. If you do the strength training first, your legs will be trashed and everything will be a bad time. So I might have to wait and see a little bit exactly what's going to happen on Wednesday, because I don't know how long the run options will be, but we'll see. Hopefully I'll aim for a quicker run on Wednesday, and then Thursday is 5k easy, Friday is 28 kilometers with very high elevation gain. That's going to be brutal. And then Saturday and Sunday are both 10 kilometers easy. One thing I have realized in the last few days really is that I have been doing my easy pace runs too fast, and has been having a negative impact on a number of my metrics. My heart rate while running seems to have got higher. My threshold pace has decreased according to some data that I'm going to talk about in a minute. And a few other metrics have got worse rather than better, which is not really what you want to see when you're halfway through a training block for a marathon. And I'm pretty sure it's because I'm doing my easy runs too quickly. So I've slowed them right down. We are snail crawling our way around them. If I feel embarrassed to put those runs on Strava, then I'm deciding that's the indication that I'm running slow enough. You should have a massive disparity between your easy run pace and your workout pace. So I'm just making sure, really making sure that I'm running those easy runs at a recovery pace, because otherwise I'm just trashing myself in between my light core sessions, and I'm not helping myself at all. And I can't afford to be doing that when my mileage is getting as high as it is. This is going to be like the highest consistent run of high mileage, longest consistent run of high mileage that I've ever tried to do. So I really have to make sure those easy runs are at a recovery pace that is not stressing my aerobic system. Otherwise it's all going to be a massive failure otherwise. So I'm a Coros watch user. I've been using some of their data, and I've been looking at it as the weeks have gone by to see how things are developing. So I'm going to look at it now and talk about why I think the numbers are worse than when I started, and how we can kind of pull that back and fix it, I suppose. And transition time. So what we're looking at here is the dashboard that's available as part of having a Coros watch and the Coros app on your phone. So it gives you a bunch of numbers and stuff that you're just left to sort of make sense of. So up here we have an arbitrary number that indicates what your marathon level is. So you can kind of see, if you go here and go up to the top, it suggests that if the number is 0 to 40, you can complete a full marathon in over 5 hours. 41 to 60, you complete a full marathon in 4 to 5 hours, etc, etc. And then you have a bunch of other sort of descriptors as to what all of their other things mean. So what we're going to be working through is basically all of the data. I took some notes down at the beginning of week 1 as to what the numbers said on the dashboard, and then we'll have a look at how they've changed. So we can see here at the beginning of week 9, about halfway through the program, we're at 58.4 for the marathon level. at the beginning, I was 62.5 for my marathon level. I don't know how accurate this is. I have never run a road marathon, so I can't tell you what my flat marathon pace is. And this is the other issue of using this. It is going to be most useful for people who are road runners. It's not necessarily super helpful for someone like me. It will give me an indication of certain things, but it's definitely not something I need to be using as like a law book to follow. So this says my marathon level has gone down. A lot of these numbers are going to be lower than they were at the beginning, so I'll talk about why I think that is the case when we get there. So we've got a little box here that suggests what our fatigue status is at. As of yesterday when I checked, so end of week 8, halfway through the block, I was at 115 for my base fitness. At the beginning I was 94 for my base fitness, so base fitness has increased, which, I mean, it should have after 8 weeks of consistent training, and my fatigue is apparently optimized, which suggests that I'm doing an appropriate amount of training and an appropriate amount of effort is going into my training. These graphs are not necessarily super useful. You've got a thing here that suggests what your like running performance is. It only measures your running performance if you have a sufficiently long bit of flat ground, and it will only do this if you do like a road run or a pavement run. So I did 3 road runs last week apparently, and my running performance was low, fair and low. My heart rate was quite high, so it basically judges you off how high your heart rate is and the pace you're going on like flat terrain. And this is sort of why I was realising that I needed to change something, because this isn't great, and something was clearly wrong and I needed to address it. So that was a useful indicator. And then we have some boxes down here that indicate what your heart rate zones are and what your pace zones are. So this is where some of the other numbers have gone down from the start. At the beginning, Koros suggested that my threshold HR was 174. We can see here that it's currently 172. It has decreased, which is not ideal. My resting heart rate is about the same as it was at the beginning, 55 compared to 55. It fluctuates a bit, but it seems like it always goes back to around 55. And then threshold pace zones, frustratingly, at the beginning, my threshold pace was, according to Koros, 4 minutes 44 seconds per kilometre. As you can see, we're now at 5 minutes 5 seconds per kilometre, so I have apparently got worse. So some of this is partially because I was ill. I had 1 week where I did not meet my training goal for that week. I eased off and did 40 kilometres that week rather than 70, and I didn't really do any workouts that week, run workouts, so that was just tiding myself over. I wasn't trying to maintain anything or improve anything. It was just getting through the week that week. So I think that will have had an impact, and I think there may have been some kind of carryover from that, because it was flu. It was a relatively, I don't get ill very often, but when I do get ill, it's not nice. So it was a relatively serious wallop of flu, which impacted me significantly. Have also been incredibly overwhelmed and depressed, which also hasn't helped. So I think that's another reason why some of these figures are not where I want them to be. And then back to that point of me running all my easy runs too quickly. I think that has had a negative impact as well. I'm not recovering enough. I'm not allowing myself to recover enough between my big effort days. So that's something I really, really need to work on. I really need to focus on it. I need to be really, really strict about it. We also have some extra graphs in this little tab over here when it loads. Oh, we're not loading today apparently. That's really helpful. Alright, got the page to load. So this gives you like a graph over here to indicate various metrics over various time periods. So you can select like last 24 weeks. We can see, if we take away these two, we can see that my base fitness was relatively high back in September. So this was kind of at the end of my summer training. I've been doing some consistent training over summer, and I managed to get myself pretty fit. Eased off a bit for the autumn, and then started to pick back up again, so we can see that increase there. And then you can also add in, like, where you want to see whether your fatigue, how your fatigue lines up with that graph, or your load impact lines up with that graph. You can see where your threshold pace is. We can see that it went up a bit and has dropped again, so this is the bit we're going to be trying to fix and work on. You can add all of these into the graph to see where you're at, basically. As I said, this isn't going to be 100% accurate, and it might be a little bit off for someone like me who's doing a sort of trail and fell stuff. And then you've got a little VO2 max graph over here as well. My VO2 max has apparently decreased as well, so that's not ideal. It used to be 48 at the beginning of this, and now we're sort of down at, what, 43 apparently, which doesn't seem accurate at all. But I think, again, this is just based off my sort of running performance graph that we saw on this first page here. I think that kind of bases the VO2 max off this, and this has not been good. So we've got work to do, and I've rambled for way too long. Alright, out the window bit. It's really shit weather today. I was supposed to be going out for a run, like a high elevation gain run in the peaks, like going up Win Hill, up Blues Hill, wiggling up and down the Great Ridge, etc. But I looked at the weather forecast and it was due to just be like continuous rain and 40 to 50 mile an hour winds, and I can't, man. I don't have the motivation for that right now. I'm getting a bit sick of fucking awful weather, and it's just getting more and more difficult to motivate myself. Like, I had to force myself out the door this morning. I can do the other runs in the week, they seem okay. It's just like the long runs just feel really, really daunting at the minute. I'm really struggling to, like, mentally just get over it and do it. I don't know, I'm just shying away from discomfort a lot more at the minute. I just want to be inside in the warm, binge watching anime. But I'm officially way too far into the run to be able to turn back and just go home. So we're seeing it through. Looks like we've got a break in the rain. I think I'm just sick of being wet, you know? And cold. Kind of pretty ready for winter to fuck off at this point. Well, keep grinding, and hopefully the goal at the end will be worth it. Also, I have a new camera, courtesy of a friend. Decided I needed an upgrade to my GoPro. So hopefully stuff will look a little bit better now, and you won't have that weird line in the bottom corner of the screen where there was a crack across the lens. So yeah, it's nice just testing it out today. Testing it out by ranting into it. This is a really good, really great first use of my new camera. So this is a bunch of abandoned industrial sheds and buildings on the edge of Sheffield. It's always pretty creepy. Okay, the knee pain that I haven't seen in months has made a reappearance. So I'm not gonna push to the full 28k. I'm just gonna kind of run walk into the little Marlin Bridge. I think Greg might be able to come pick me up from there. I kind of thought this might happen. This is the highest kind of consistent, or the most consistent volume I've done in a while. Well, ever actually. Yeah, it's the most consistent volume I've ever done. So if there was kind of a repetitive injury going to make a reappearance, it would be now. But I'll just have to think about how I'm tackling the next few weeks, I guess. I'm going to leave it there for this week, because there's not really anything else interesting to say other than my knee's hurting and I'm a bit miserable and wet. But yeah, I'll catch you next time.